The time is at hand.
From the land of crackheads and honey in Williamson, West Virginia, this is In Dark Places. I have Dogman Encounters for you today. I would prefer to call it a werewolf, but we're stuck with the name Dogman. It's unfortunate. I have only shared this story with one other person for fear of being called crazy, but here goes nothing. For the sake of privacy, I cannot disclose the exact location of this, but I will say that it was in northern Illinois in the spring of 2020. During the COVID lockdown, my partner at the time was working overnight security for the property he worked on, as they were not open to normal visitors. I would often go out to have dinner with him and keep him company for a few hours, and drove the same route that I would take to his house during the daytime hours. All that to say, I am very familiar with this area and drove this route multiple times a week. One night, I was heading back home from his job site. It was around midnight/12:30, and I was driving down the main/major road with other traffic in both lanes. There is a stretch of this road that is between the Bar Row and the convenience cluster, about 3/4 of a mile, with less buildings, less lights, mostly entrances to neighborhoods and a few parks. As I was passing the stretch of one of these parks, I noticed that the car in the oncoming lane had slowed almost to a stop in a 45-mile-an-hour zone, which is what originally caught my attention. Then I noticed a dark shape moving in front of the headlights, eventually passing into my lane, before passing the edge of the guardrail and continuing down the small hill into the darkness of the park. It was around 8 to 10 feet tall, black and straggly, clearly covered in fur/hair. It walked on 2 legs, which I could see bent wrong at the knee like a dog, and I could see 2 arms with long fingers. It had a slight hunch in its back and a large head with an extended muzzle. All in all, a pretty typical image you normally see of a dogman or the beast of Bray Road. Think cheesy movie werewolf meets shaggy German shepherd. It was over so quickly that I didn't even fully process what I had just seen until I had started driving again. This thing was not running or anything, just walking with unnaturally long strides across a 2-lane road. As soon as I realized what I had seen, I called my partner, and he had me describe as much detail as possible, which is probably part of the reason that I still remember it in so much detail. We did go out to the park the next day looking for prints, as it had been raining the day before, and the ground was quite muddy. We saw 1 or 2 imprints that looked like it could have been a large paw-like print, but nothing clear enough to get a photograph or a cast. From my biological mother. She was gardening out in the front of the house next to a main road. Not many cars that day. All of a sudden, from up the road on her side, something just like this, but dark, probably taller, and bearing its teeth. Pointy ears too, if I can remember. She got on her knees and was just terrified, possibly praying. That's the thing to do. She felt it leap over her body and disappear. When it jumped, it went through a metal shed, because that's what was behind her. Or as soon as the feeling of it jumping overwent, that is when it disappeared. I have heard of beings like this dematerialize and induce debilitating feelings of fear. I feel they are extra-dimensional and most likely demons that feed on fear. You may be correct. November 2012, I was camping on the river in front of my mama's house. Just a fire in my coat on the ground to lay on. I had done this all my life. Got there around 11. Around 4 or 5 a.m., I was woke up by something across the river that terrified me so badly I couldn't move. It looked like it had came out of the ground. It was roaring/screaming as it raised up to what looked to be about 8 to 10 feet tall, 3 feet wide, and 2 feet. Thick, patchy, dark hair with extremely muscular upper body, long arms that were past the knees, if that's what they were called, with raccoon-type hands with what looked like 6-inch claws. The head was a boxy oval with long, bunched-up, razor-sharp looking teeth, but pointed. Its eyes shined in the dark like glowing, swirling fire coals. It scared me so bad I couldn't move or scream. Not sure if I was even breathing at that point. It was extremely fast. Ran up a hill halfway to the tree line and stopped and looked straight into my eyes, like it was weighing my soul for any worthiness. And then it just smiled. It looked like it had turned around, and like a streak, it went to the top of the hill and disappeared. As soon as I could gather my strength enough to move, I went and got my truck and stayed there till daylight. Been in the woods my whole life, day and night hunting. Never have I encountered or seen anything like that until then. A few years before, I did have something follow me home from a friend's house one night. It was mimicking my steps, except I was in the road and it was in the woods beside the road. I don't know, I never saw it, but I heard it cross the river in 2 splashes, and it hit the ground on the other side on its 3rd step. Years later, I hear about what they call Dogman and started digging for info on the matter. I ran across a couple of accounts dating back 200 years about the same thing from settlers in the area. It could be a shaman/wendigo. In Knoxville, at a park, there is a rock that says the devil lives on the Holston River in Knoxville. The Indians called it Long Dog with teeth like knives. Translated. Settlers call it the Hellhound of Big Elm Road. I don't know what to call it, but it is scary. Most people disregard this as me being crazy, but I got no reason to make up nonsense like that, and to this day I've never been that scared in my life. I saw a Dogman a few years ago. Was at night inside the city looking at the stars. Looked to be about 7 to 8 feet tall and was running really quickly and smoothly. It was dark brown, and the upper body was far wider than the hips. Long arms like it was hunched over a fair bit. It was a fair bit away from me when it was running past, like 60 to 70 feet from me. Didn't look at me, felt nothing unusual about it. It only lasted about 2 or 3 seconds or so. And that's about all the Dogman Encounters I've got for you for right now. Thanks for listening. I'll see you next time. God bless.